Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be watching the finale of RWBY Volume 1, finally. Yeah, I know, it's been a while, but I guess I'll just get this out of the way at the front. I don't want to do I'm back post every time I'm back because the truth of the matter is I upload sporadically and I wish I uploaded more frequently. I wish I had a schedule, but I don't. I want to work towards a schedule, but I guess I'll just be honest with you guys. I don't handle stress very well, and I go into like major like paralysis mode, and I just shut down. And I wish it was the opposite. I wish I coped with stress by burying my nose in it and being workaholic, but it's not the case. So I I just feel guilty all the time, but I'm always thinking about I should watch the finale. I should make the next video. And I feel bad about it. And so, yeah. But yeah, I don't want to get too real. I don't want this to be too long. I just wanted to have a brief thing here being like, yeah, I might not upload often, but I am dedicated to finishing this because I'm really, really enjoying RWBY. I know I haven't finished the first goddamn season in like over a year, but trust me, my enjoyment is not diminished. I really, really like it still, and I'm having fun with it. So as long as you guys are having fun with it and having fun with my discussions, then I'm cool with it and I'm happy. So yeah, enough yapping. Let's watch this episode. It's 15 minutes long, guys. This is exciting. Finally, a long episode. I can't wait to see what they do with this finale. It has to culminate. I'm guessing we're gonna have a big team moment. We're gonna resolve our conflict with Hotel. Resolve our conflict in the team, and maybe have a cool fight scene.
Finally, she speaks.
Oh fuck! I forgot about
2
this.
days and you give me nothing but small talk and weird looks. Yeah, like that.
Son, are you familiar with the White Fang?
Of course.
Ooh, White Fang Lord, let's
There's a boss on
go.
the planet who hasn't heard of them. Stupid, holier-than-thou creeps that use force to get whatever they want. Bunch of freaks, if you ask me.
Oh.
I was once a member of the White Fang.
Wait a minute, you were a member of the White Fang?
That's right. I was a member for most of my life, actually. You could almost say I was born into it. Back then, things were different. In the ashes of war, the White Fang was meant to be a symbol of peace and unity between humans and the Faunus. Of course, despite being promised equality, the Faunus were subjected to discrimination and hate. Humanity still thought of us as lesser beings, and so the White Fang rose up as a voice of our people. And I was there.
Aw.
I was at the front of every rally. I took part in every boycott, and I actually thought we were making a difference. But I was just a youthful optimist. Then, 5 years ago, our leader stepped down, and a new one took his place. A new leader with a new way of
I
thinking.
see.
Suddenly, our peaceful protests were being replaced with organized attacks. We were setting fire to shops that refused to serve us, hijacking cargo from companies that used Faunus labor. And the worst part was, it was working. We were being treated like equals, but not out of respect, out of fear.
Yikes.
So, I left. I decided I no longer wanted to use my skills to aid in their violence, and instead, I would dedicate my life to becoming a huntress. So here I am, a criminal hiding in plain view, all with the help of a little black bow.
It's really good disguise, honestly.
So, have you told your friends any of this?
About that.
Blake! Blake! Where are you? Blake! Weiss, they're not helping. Oh, you know who might be able to help? The police. It was just an idea. Yeah, bad one.
Weiss, I think we should hear her
My
side of the story
God.
before we jump
Weiss,
to
I love you.
conclusions.
I think when we hear it, you'll all realize I was right.
And I think Weiss's hair looks wonderful today.
Ah, Penny, where did you come from?
Hey guys, what are
She
you
just
up to?
assimilated herself into the friend
Looking
group.
for our friend Blake.
Oh, you mean the Faunus girl.
How do you...
How did you know that? The cat ears?
What cat ears? She wears a boat.
I think they figured just a fucking tumbleweed.
So, where is
Did
she?
she
We
like
don't know.
tuna?
She's been missing since Friday.
That's terrible.
Wait,
Well, don't
I
you
miss
worry,
these guys
my
so much.
friend.
They're so
I
goofy.
won't rest until we find your teammate.
That's really nice of you, Penny. But we're okay. Really. Right, guys?
Oh my god. They said that we're not dealing with this girl.
It sure is windy today.
So, what's the plan now?
I still don't believe the White Fang is behind these robberies. They've never needed that much dust before.
What if they did? I mean, the only way to prove that they didn't do it is to go to the place where they would most likely go to if they were to do it and not find them there. Right?
The only thing is, I have no idea where that would
Well,
be.
that's a
while I was on the
start.
ship,
I
heard
wouldn't
some
say it's
guys talking about
conclusive.
offloading a huge shipment of dust coming in from Atlas.
How huge?
Huge. Big Shinny Company freighter.
You're sure?
Thanks anyways. This is hopeless. You really don't care if we find her, do you?
Don't be stupid. Of course I do. I'm just afraid of what she'll say when we find her. The innocent never run, Yang.
Is she scared?
So,
Is
Blake
she?
is your
Does she feel
friend?
guilty?
Yes, Penny.
But you're mad at her?
Yes. Well, I'm not. Weiss is.
Is she friends with Blake?
Well, that's kind of up in the air right now.
But why?
Well, you see, Blake might not be who we thought she was.
Is she a man?
No, Penny. I don't know what she is. She didn't exactly talk to us before she decided to run off.
I don't have a lot of friends. But if I did, I would want them to talk to me about things.
A lot of friends, so you do have friends. Don't think I didn't catch that, writers.
Did I
I
miss
see
anything?
your games.
Not really. They've offloaded all the crates from the boat. Now they're just sitting there.
Cool. I stole you some food.
Do you always break the law without a second thought?
Hey, weren't you in a cult or something? Okay, too soon.
That was peak dialogue exchange. I approve.
Oh no.
Is that them?
Yes. It's them.
I mean, maybe they're supplying themselves for war
You didn't
again.
think they were behind it, did you?
No. I think deep down I knew. I just didn't want to be right.
Hey,
They got some
What's the
nefarious
hold
schemes
up?
up here.
we're not exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that makes
thieves
sense.
At the moment, so why don't you animals try to pick up the pace?
This isn't right.
Oh, and he's racist. Of
The
course he
White
is.
Fang would never work with a human. Especially not one like that.
Hey, what are you doing?
Maybe they have something in common that they want.
No, you idiot! This isn't a leash.
Why would that be a leash?
Oh, for
Nobody move!
Wait, a leash for what?
Oh,
Do they have?
Take it easy there,
Grim?
little lady.
Brothers of the White Fang!
Trying
why
to
are
appeal
you
to them?
aiding this scum?
It's kind of working actually.
Didn't you get the memo?
What are you talking about?
The White Fang and I are going in on a.
But I don't
joint
think they like each other.
Tell me what it is, or I'll put an end to your little operation.
I wouldn't exactly call it a little operation.
They're working together, but they don't like each other, meaning what they're working for is more important. I might be crazy. I might be reading into it too much. And things are kicking off.
Oh,
That's fight music if I've ever heard one. We haven't seen this guy fight, so I'm excited.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty.
Oh, fuck. We get to see you in action. How does this universe's Sun Wukong do in combat? I'm curious.
You are not the brightest banana in the bunch, are you, kid?
Ha, I get it. Okay, hand-to-hand combat. Very nice, very nimble. Oh, okay, we got a staff. Nice. Alright. What's his ability though? Because Sun Wukong is notorious for being OP. Holy shit, combos! Whoa, he's actually guarding really well. What the fuck? He's not getting caught. Are those gunchucks? What the fuck? That's a staff that can turn into nunchucks that can turn into guns. Yo, he's actually kind of cracked though. What the fuck? They're both taking him on. Alright, main character time.
Hello, Red. Isn't it past your bedtime?
Ruby, are these people your friends?
Penny, get back.
Caught you lacking. Oh my god. Embarrassing.
Penny, wait!
Oh shit. Okay, we get to see what she does.
Don't worry, Ruby.
I'm combat ready.
Ah, so that's the backpack. Okay, yeah. Some people told me that she was wearing a backpack, but she wasn't last time. So they were talking about this episode. She's wearing one this episode. Yo, she's kind of... What the fuck? Hello? She might be the strongest one here. How many swords does she have in there? Oh, they're attached to like strings. How does she control them? She's fucking Aurelia. What the fuck? What the... Hello? Do we need to do anything? I think she got this. It's the one-man army in this.
How is she doing that?
Oh, you know what's interesting? Her clothes are like tech looking, and then the swords are like tech looking, and they're strings or like wires. So I'm wondering if her semblance.
Just keep getting weirder.
I'm wondering if semblance has something to do with clothes, because like the fiber of the clothes. Maybe she could control the fabric. I don't know. I'm reaching, but that would be cool though. Oh.
Look, Weiss, it's not what you think. She explained the whole thing. You see, she doesn't actually wear a bow. She has kitty ears, and they're actually kind of cute.
Weiss, I want you to know that I'm no longer associated with the White Fang. Back when I was with...
Stop. Do you have any idea of how long we've been searching for you? 12 hours. That means I've had 12 hours to think about this. And in that 12 hours, I've decided... I don't care.
You don't care?
You said you're not one of them anymore, right?
No, I haven't been since I was younger.
I don't want to hear it. All I want to know is that the next time something this big comes up, you'll come to your teammates and not someone else.
Well, okay, well, why? You see, she was, but
Of course.
you were being very aggressive.
Yeah, Team Ruby is back together!
It's difficult to want to talk about this kind of
Still
thing.
not quite sure how I feel about you.
Hey, wait a minute.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about this later.
Where's Penny?
You should know better than to go running around in a strange city.
Oh,
I know, sir.
sir.
Annie, your time will come.
I was watching. Crow! Queen as pawns? Crow? Like Ruby's uncle? Oh, also, okay, it's over already? Holy shit. I'm gonna let these credits play out. Huh. And this song's really nice, actually. Sun Wukong? Not Wukong? Okay, that's his name. Sun Wukong. Wait, is that a misspelling? Because I swear I saw his name as Sun Wukong in the previous credits. Whatever. Oh yeah, speaking of the music, I do want to do OST reactions before we head to Volume 2, so yeah. But I do want to try and increase the speed at which that we watch Volume 2. I don't want to take another year and a half, so we'll see how that goes.
Don't be disappointed.
I am a little disappointed. There are things that I liked, and then there are things that I felt like they could have done that they didn't. But I'll save that for the notes. But if you want, if you're a watcher who doesn't stick around for my notes, if you want my thoughts about the volume now, holy shit, what the fuck? I was not prepared for that breakdown. Wait, this bangs. Alright, yeah, as I was saying, my thoughts on the first ever volume of RWBY. I really like it. It's very rough around the edges. I wouldn't call it I wouldn't call it peak or good writing necessarily, but I really like it. There's a lot of really good stuff in here actually. But it looks very promising, and it looks like since there's so many seasons that it would improve over time, and it's just very charming. Dialogue is very witty, and despite the clumsy execution, there is heart, and the characters are all three-dimensional. It's awesome. Yeah, I knew it. I knew there was post-credit scenes. And this was back in like 2013, before the MCU that all. Wait, no, actually they did used to do that.
See you guys so soon.
We were expecting more from
Oh,
you.
it's her
Hey, you were the ones who suggested working
from
with
the
those
first
stupid
episode.
mutts from the White Fang.
And you will continue to do so. We have big plans for you, Roman. All we ask
Are those
is a little
PNGs?
cooperation.
Sorry. Yeah, we got more characters, more villains to add to our villain squad. Oh, we even got their silhouettes at the end. That's awesome. That's cool. Okay. We got layers now. Alright. So, yeah, as usual, let me take a bit of a break and I'll come back with my discussion. Alright. Let's start from the top. I had just finished writing everything, and I was looking back at my themes that I wrote, and I realized that I couldn't really connect a through line. Like, these are all a bunch of like, you could say that one of the new themes is like forgiveness or acceptance of someone regardless of who they are. Dunno, right? Like, that is a theme of the final arc that we had in this volume. But all the stuff about change can come from the smallest spark, or, you know, making friends, I guess this one still applies. The world fails to be a fairy tale, but that's where we come in. Light versus dark. Those who fail to learn from history doomed to repeat. I mean, maybe some of this, a little bit. But generally, I'd say this volume has been very disjointed. They've been more focused on trying to tell the story of individual characters and the two teams and trying to get that. Even then, they didn't touch on everyone. Like, Yang wasn't really touched on this time. Like, out of all the team members, Yang is actually the least developed now, which is crazy because I'm really interested in what her story is going to be. But, you know, yeah, but that's fine. So let's get into lore stuff. We learned a lot more about the White Fang, which is awesome. According to Sun, he called them stupid, holier-than-thou creeps who use force to get whatever they want. A bunch of freaks, if you ask me, he says. And so this is coming from a Faunus. This is a Faunus looking at the White Fang, which was supposed to represent the Faunus, calling them holier-than-thou creeps who use force, which basically confirms that they're now extremists who are probably for the eradication of humans rather than coexistence. So yeah, post-war. So again, they mentioned a war before. I don't remember where I wrote it, but there was a war before. After the war, meant to be a symbol of unity between humans and faunas, but despite being promised equality, they were still subject to hate, discrimination, and thought of as lesser, which is crazy. But yeah, humans do what humans do. But why though? Why were faunas seen as lesser? Did we get that? I don't think we did, but I don't know if we will, because this is getting more into the roots of it. Like, looking at why racism, like, let's say, against people of African descent happened here is because, well, I'll say it's because, but it had to do with civilizations of higher power, technology, resources who would, I mean, for lack of a better, colonize countries that they deemed as barbaric, places who weren't as developed. And they meddled with them, saying that, hey, we have a say in your culture because we are better, because we have better stuff. We have better stuff, and therefore we are more human than you. And we need to teach you how to be people. And they use them as labor and whatnot. That's a very, very simplified rundown, but that is an example of how racism happened here in the real world. So I'm wondering, how did the faunus racism come about? Is it because they were seen as part grim, maybe? Or because they're not really grim, it's more like they're part animal, because that's the whole Kemono Mimi thing, right? What were they lesser because they were animal-like and people saw animals as lesser than them, or like you know what I mean? I don't know if they're gonna go into it, but if they want to write a story about racism like this, I would expect them to talk about this eventually. So that's that. So they did peaceful protests and boycotts initially, of being like, okay, hey, we want rights. But then 5 years ago from the current timeline, their peaceful leader stepped down and a more violent leader stepped up. The protests were then replaced. They didn't add on to their repertoire. They straight up didn't do peaceful protests and boycotts anymore. They straight up just did organized attacks, setting fire to shops who refused to serve them, hijacking cargo from companies that use faunus labor, so Shnida's company. What's interesting about this is like zero tolerance, basically. But you know what this reminds me of? There's a specific incident that happened in real life. This is not connected to racism, but it's more for religion. It was I don't remember the names of anything, but there was that guy that wrote a book critiquing the religion of Islam, and I think it was sold in a Middle Eastern country, I think. Someone fact check me on this. And eventually they like witch hunted him and like burnt the shop down, like burnt his shop down for essentially defaming the religion. So the parallel I wanted to talk about is the idea of zero tolerance of if you critique us in any way, we see that as a threat so big that it like physical violence is justified, that we will destroy your livelihood for this defamation, and in this case destroy their livelihood for refusing to give us rights as people. Which, I mean, if it's to the point of really bad racism, then having like a sign that says no faunus allowed in this place, and like they kicked out the minorities out of like, yeah, I would understand the feelings of unrest and needing to take action. What's the term? Is it organized action? I think that's the term. But yeah, I mean, if this is extreme, straight up setting fire rather than boycotting the restaurant, for example, or shop, they set fire to it because probably it didn't work because the faunus population was probably too little to really affect anything. But again, that's assuming that all humans didn't like Faunus. Even now, not every person is racist. There's a majority. There's like, not majority of that, but there's a large amount of people who are racist. But there are enough people who are not a minority who are not racist. You know what I mean? So I wonder what would have happened if they boycotted it instead, or I don't know. There's so much about this that I really want to know more about. I'm really intrigued by this plot line because it seems to be very important in the overall plot, because White Fang seems to be a recurring antagonist faction, and it ties into one of our main characters, and it is just overall very important to the world. So I really, really, really want to know more about this. Also, hijacking cargo for companies like the black trailer. Companies that use Faunus labor. Blake specifically said that used Faunus labor, which is kind of vague though, because it's like if you paid them fair wage, like a livable wage, but that's technically still using Faunus labor. Does that count? Like, should they still hijack from that company, or you know what I mean? Like, what? It's kind of vague wording. I don't know. I might be looking too much into it. But, eventually they were treated as equals out of fear. But this is where things get weird, because Cardin, for example, was bullying the rabbit girl. Fuck, there was a name. There was a name, right? Was bullying the Faunus girl, but he didn't fear her. It's more of this. It's more of thought of as lesser. They thought of her as weird. They were picking on the rabbit ears. Oh, that's weird. Right? You're a freak. This is more of this, not of this. So I'm thinking that the White Fang isn't ubiquitous, as in there's gonna be parts of the world that still think of this rather than this. Blake saying this is because she was heavily involved with the White Fang as a kid. She was radicalized at a young age, and this is what she views the Faunus as, being feared. But so far there has been no instance of this. So I'm curious to see where this goes, really. But yes, but now the White Fang, so here in the plot, now they're working with Torchwick to rob a bunch of dust for some reason. We don't know what they want to use it for. But it seems like it's big operations. They're planning something big with this. And we won't get to know yet. So they're building up some kind of plot in the background. That's cool. Yeah, they don't seem to like each other. Torchwick was bad-mouthing them. And when Blake revealed that she was a Faunus and asking, hey, why are you working with this guy who's clearly a dickhead, they were kind of hesitating. And it's like, oh, okay, their heart's not really in it. Which means they're working for someone else who's telling them to do it. I don't know if Torchwick is the top of his chain, but I don't think so because of characters we meet later, but we'll get there when we get there. But I don't know about the White Fang. The White Fang feel like these mooks are being told by the violent leader, maybe. But we're not sure. A lot of questions that I'm really hoping we get answers to. Yeah. Next. I guess let's talk about the meat and potatoes of Weiss and Blake. Actually, I was going to say impressed, but that's not the right word. I'm surprised that there was very little that happened between them. Essentially, Weiss's development was off screen. She had 12 in-universe hours to think about things, but we didn't really get to see that. What we did get to see was her initial, like, we could have called the police, and it's like, Weiss, she's a criminal, but she's our friend, but we want to hear her out. That's not, like she's being, what's the word? she's being kind of like facetious about it. Um, yeah, and the second time that we saw her, we cut back to her was when Weiss and Yang ditched Ruby. And she was talking about how she might feel guilty. I mean, she didn't say she was going to feel guilty, but it was implied that she might feel guilty about what Blake might say to her. So it's clear that she still cared about Blake. It's just that she doesn't show it. She's very prideful, and she doesn't, she gets angry a lot, and she doesn't want to let that image of her get ruined, I guess. But from my reading, it's that she still values Blake as a friend, but still has issues with her. But and she recognizes that, because she is self-aware that she's difficult sometimes. We know this. So there's a very high chance that it's basically guaranteed that she knew that she said some wrong things, even though she may feel like she's justified in what she feels. She at least, I believe that she still has the self-awareness to acknowledge that she's being a dickhead. And so, she's like, I'm scared about what she'll say to me. And then interestingly, she said the innocent never run, which is something you'd hear a lot of people who are privileged say, because they are not aware that people in power can get away with many things. So, innocent people can still get convicted of crimes that they never committed. Happens a lot, actually, disturbing much. So she's coming from a place of privilege. She still holds these views. We do not see her lose these views, importantly. But by the time we see her, when the dust is settled and she approaches Blake tries to explain everything to her, and she's like, nope, I don't want to hear it. The point isn't that I want to hear your backstory so that I can understand. I don't care about that anymore. Okay? I acknowledge that you are valid in what you feel, and that I'm not going to villainize you for being ex White Fang. Whatever you say won't sway my opinion that I forgive you, I accept you. But even she said, she's not in the White Fang anymore, right? So that's fine. She was just acting emotionally, and the trauma of her past came up at that point. She was having a fit. But the important part was that she wanted Blake to trust them with the information. She would have liked it if Blake told them that she was a faunus from the start, is what I'm guessing. It's really vague. What I wrote down was doesn't want to have a complicated discussion around politics, because she shuts that off. And she realized she was out of line, but it's not accepting. It's very unclear, I guess. If you guys have an explanation for this or a more clear theory about this in the comments, you can feel free to do so. But it's very unclear, because it's kind of a repeat of what happened in the Emerald Forest with Ruby. I forget which episode it was, but the one where she saves Ruby from getting killed. She has that self-awareness that she's difficult sometimes. But immediately in the next episode, Badge and the Burden, she still holds that snobbiness. She still felt like she was superior to Ruby, or at least that Ruby was failing her expectations somehow. So this has happened before. She takes accountability, but still has baggage. This feels like that. She takes accountability, but she still has baggage. So my prediction is that Weiss isn't done with this. Weiss will have a second story arc surrounding the White Fang and Blake specifically to air out their struggle, their conflict, because I don't think it's actually resolved. And I think it might be nice for Weiss to know the backstory, but she doesn't have to. Depends on where they want to take this. So very interesting things. Okay. Yeah, so Blake, part of the White Fang? Question mark? Not anymore. Part of the White Fang! Exclamation point. We know now. Yeah, so she left so that she couldn't use her power for violence anymore, and she dedicated her life to become a huntress instead, which shows her conviction. Yeah, I mean, it really, because like I said earlier, Blake has been radicalized from being a kid, like as a kid going to protests and being raised in a political climate explicitly. So Blake is inherently just a very, like, she's going to have opinions about politics and specifically the way that the White Fang and the Faunus and the humans should get along. I'm interested to hear her thoughts about that because she's probably the most knowledgeable out of our entire main characters about this conflict. So yeah, she's going to be very useful, very instrumental in the future storylines involving what exactly Torchwick and the White Fang were doing, I feel. So that's cool. Penny, observant, doesn't have a lot of friends. Flying swords, strings, and lasers in her backpack. I've already said my thoughts of what I think her semblance is. She might not actually have a semblance, and that is like technology, because she's very technology coded. That could be the case. Or she could be a cyborg. That's another possibility. Who knows? She's very eccentric. Then there was her guardian, or that she called Sir. In the credits, it says Penny's driver, but the way that she addressed him feels like the driver isn't just like a random driver. It's like someone important to her that was driving. That's why I said maybe her guardian. So interesting. Not parents or anything. So very much curious vibe to her. And he says her time will come. I don't know if this is talking about participating in the tournament. So we'll see, I guess. She really stole the show, though, I will say. RWBY got took out immediately in one shot, and she stole the show. I don't know how to feel about that, since only Blake had any semblance of, like, it's a climax. It's the climax of an action show. But only one of 4 of your main characters actually got to do something, which is, one of them had their development off-screen. One of them doesn't even have her arc this season. One of them, which is the main character, by the way, gets taken out immediately so that a different side character that was just introduced gets to steal the show, even though she was cool as shit. And only the one with direct ties to the plot had a fight scene. And to be fair, that fight scene was awesome. But it's a very strange decision for a finale. So just saying. And it wasn't even that Weiss and Blake's resolution even felt that cathartic. It was very vague. So it's weird. But yeah. Speaking of the fight, can we just put some respect on Torchwick? He stood on business. Did you see in a 1v1 when he was fighting Blake one-on-one? She was mixing it up and he was just blocking it and managed to drive her away. And when he was fighting Sun one-on-one, even with the gunchucks, he was deflecting. He was actually like unlocked. It's not until when they tag each other in that he had any problem. Meaning, power scaling wise, Roman kind of clears Blake and Sun respectively with mid diff. So That's crazy. I think Blake and Sun would have won against Roman if they did teamwork and it was an isolated battle that wasn't interrupted. I'd say it might be a high diff fight, but those two would win. But still, that's pretty crazy. Roman's just a dude with like a cane that can shoot, but he's actually really fucking good at what he does. So that's actually cool. I really like that. Oh yeah, mysterious woman's name is Cinder, by the way. Credits told me, haha. And I know this is her because she shoots fire. Oh yeah, it's kind of implied that she's the one that hired Torchwick to begin with, or at least their relationship is partners in crime, but she's the one in the know about things that he doesn't know about, kind of way. It's interesting, and she has more goons to the left and right of her, so I assume that's Volume 2 material, which is nice. Also, Crow, finally know to spell his freaking name. Queen is Pawns, and Osmond was watching. They're in touch. I guess teachers have a circle, because Ruby said Crow was a teacher at her old school, if I'm not mistaken, and taught her how to use her weapon. But Crow also knows how to use a scythe, which is a rare weapon type. So that's interesting. Also, this implies that, yes, there's a big bad who has smaller goons. And if we connect it, Cinder has more goons and uses Torchwick as a goon. She could be the one that is pulling the strings behind everything, which is... yeah, that could be... yeah, that checks out. Very interesting. A lot of setup. But, yeah. Those are my thoughts of holy shit, this discussion went on for so long. But I had a lot of thoughts, but yes. Overall, very fun. Enjoyed myself. I already said all of this. OST reactions are next, and then we'll hop into Volume 2. Yeah, thank you all for being patient. Thank you all for enjoying and sitting around for my discussions. There is a Discord server link in the description if you want to talk to me. And discuss your favorite media with a bunch of other people in the server. They're very cool. You can do that. You can follow me on Twitter. Shill. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.